Hello, anti-novelist, Lilligans, curious onlookers and friends. Welcome back to this episode of Zettelkasten for Fiction, where imagination finds order. I want to continue down this road of how you document the random items that you create over in your Zettelkasten. So how do you go from a draft, a note, an idea, a jot down, whatever you want to call it, into your note box? So this is another example. Yesterday I walked you through how to take an actual draft of a chapter, go through, highlight your key terms, and then create your cards and install them in your box. Today, this is a variant of that. So this, what you're looking at, is called my cause and effect character choices tracker. This will be included in the book for you. You'll have your very own copy. But this is just a way of understanding if my character does this in a scene, it's likely going to result in this. So you're just tracking your cause and effect, your character choices. And then the second set of boxes says research questions and tasks. So I've created a checkbox on a set of lines so that anything up here that I have a question about, I have a comment on, maybe I've got another side idea, but I'm not sure where it needs to go. I'm going to drop down here and I'm going to make myself a task. So this box relates to what's going on up here. And then this box is the same. Whatever these effects are or these outcomes, then I have another set of research questions and tasks below. So if I have a question about one of these items, I'm just going to make myself a checkbox task so that I can go back and look that thing up. And then down on the bottom, I've got two notes boxes in case I need to carry further conversation with myself down into the notes. And then this gets filed over in my plot binder, which we'll get into that later, but let's stick to the cards in the note box right here. So this chapter, the chapter is titled The Cowboy Academic, okay? And I tell myself here, it's book 1, chapter 5 of my novel. So when I'm looking at this, we met Branch yesterday and got into a little bit of his story. So this will be familiar to you. If you haven't watched yesterday's video, I would suggest maybe do that just to give yourself some orientation to what we're doing here. But here I've got a note that says the cause is Branch's backstory, Gordon and Jane, and I've drawn myself a note. His birth year means that he's 138 years old. Ooh, that's kind of fun, huh? But what I'm telling myself here are some of the critical details that I need to know about my story, and then I'm asking myself the questions I need to follow up on. He has a history with the Voynich manuscript, and I make a note. What is this relationship? Then he was in World War I and in Kansas City in the 1920s. And my note to myself is, what did he bring back with him? Okay, so that could be literal, it could be figurative, it could be an attitude. I'm not going to tell you what that is because I don't want you to know. Then I've got go get the book, feels Tara pass by. Okay, so those are some key items that take place in this chapter 5 of book 1. When I get down to my checkboxes, you see date of birth Gordon, which is his dad, date of birth Jane, which is his mom. Then I've got the second study group, Branch's meet the book. So that's a note to myself about a story, basically a plot line. And then over here, under these items, I've got 1920s, backstories or flashback. So I'm just talking to myself about what that story is going to look like. Now, how does this translate into note cards? Well, easy peasy. It's the same way that we translated the notes yesterday. So, for example, here, I know this Gordon item and this Jane item, those are going to have to be populated onto character cards. When were his parents born? What were the circumstances of their birth? Etc. and so forth. So under Gordon Branch, over in my index, which is right here, I'm going to go to B for Branch / Gordon, and I'm going to make an entry for his dad and index those cards. And then I'm going to assign the numbers and they're going to get filed in my box. Same for all the rest of this information. Second study group, which is a question in relation to the Voynich manuscript. I'm going to go to V for Voynich manuscript in my index. I'm going to add this second study group plot item, giving it its number, etc. and so forth. So again, you're just having this conversation with yourself and populating out your cards so that they can get into your box. So for example, I'll do one right here for you just as an example for how that works. So I know that 7120 is Branch's number, and I know that dot A is his mom. So I'm going to call this Branch Jane. Okay, so I have just started right here, Jane's character card. So then I might go through and put her date of birth. I might put her place of birth. I might put some physical characteristics. That's when I'm going to go over into my character development tool, which is that nice, big, beefy A through N set of prompts that help you develop out your characters. So I might pull up my character development tool and create Jane's cards just to flesh out that character for me in case I need to deep dive into her information. So I would go next to my index under branch, Jane, and I would enter 7120.a in my index. So let's just look at it and see if it's there. I don't think it is because I've not built her out as an independent character, but let's just look. Let's go to B. Let's go to branch, right here, branch, Gordon, and Jane. Ah, what do we have here? 7121.1. I've already done that character research and I've already assigned her number. Holy moly. So what am I going to do here? I'm going to go over to that card that I just created when I was thinking I hadn't already done it. I'm going to pull out my little whiteout tool. I'm going to white that out. And instead of 7120.a, which was me assigning the wrong number because I didn't check my index first, I'm going to assign it 7121.1. And look at that. Now, Jane's card has its proper number. It corresponds with my index. And then I would flip around and install that card over in my Zettelkasten where it belongs in the box. Now Jane's details are indexed, they're numbered properly, and they're safe over in the box under Branch's family. Easy peasy. You can do this simple little workflow with any detail you have in your story. Does not matter what it is. The important thing is assign it that keyword, check your index to make sure it doesn't already exist. If it exists, copy down the number. If it does not, go look over in your box and decide where you want to install it, and then make sure that those numbers match between card and index, and then drop that card over into your Zettelkasten. So exciting. I love this process so much, especially when I check it and I realize that I've already done that work, so it's all good to go. Job done. Then you don't have to worry ever about losing those details. Now, we're getting ready, as I've said before, for our annual long autumn trip. I will be off the grid for probably 11 days. So in preparation for that, because we all love office supplies, I have 1,000 4x6 note cards that are coming with me. And I picked up 148, whoa, just dropped my camera, 148 tabs. So these little guys are what I'm going to use to track my story. So I'm going to do a little bit more writing on my novel. I'm going to do some deep diving into that writing just because I really enjoy that, and I'm doing that developmental edit, so I need to get after those updates and edits. But at the same time, I have the book I'm writing for you, which is right here. Now this only goes up to 31 tabs because it is also taken out from a month organizer, so there's 31 days in a month. So I'm going to add some of these new tabs over in the book I'm writing for you, and then I will get that entire book sequenced out and correspond it to what I'm writing over in my Scrivener. That way, when I go on that trip, I have everything that I need at hand to do the final pass through of this book I'm writing for you. I'm so excited. It's coming down the finish line. It's definitely written, I would say a third of the way, but I intend over the next 5 days, I've got a really nice stretch of writing time. So I'm going to hammer out these next few chapters and keep on rolling. So there you go. Still getting ready for the trip, but in the meantime, creating my cards, checking my index, installing my cards in the notebox. Viva la Zettelkasten. So I am headed out for oral surgery. I'm having a tooth removed. We'll see how that goes. And I will leave you here for today. So get those cards cracking, get that index working, whether you index in a binder like I do on A to Z tabs, or you index on A to Z tabs in a note box. Your index can function however you need it. Make it suit your needs and what you like to use. I like mine in a binder, but that's just me. So I will see you tomorrow.